The magical land of Oz is ruled by the wizard and his secretary, Madame Morrible. But the wizard hides a dangerous secret. He has no real magic at all. He is merely a man from Earth who crossed into Oz. Morrible helps maintain this illusion because it grants her power and political influence. The people of Oz worship the wizard as their savior. One day, they manipulate Elphaba into reading from the Grimoire, an ancient and powerful spellbook. Through this, Elphaba uncovers the truth. The wizard is a fraud and is responsible for the cruel persecution of talking animals. The wizard insists that Oz was chaotic before his rule, and invites Elphaba to govern alongside him, but his true goal is to control her magic. Elphaba refuses and escapes with the Grimoire. In response, the wizard and Morrible brand her as evil, turning her into the feared Wicked Witch of the West. A year later, construction begins on a yellow brick road, meant to unite all regions with Emerald City. Enslaved animals are forced into hard labor and brutally abused by soldiers. When one exhausted creature collapses, a soldier orders it to continue. Suddenly, a burst of magic shatters the chains, freeing the animals. As a soldier raises his whip to strike, Elphaba appears and snatches it away, standing defiantly before them. The soldiers panic when they realize Elphaba is flying behind them. They try to escape, but she is far faster, chasing them through the air and striking with her whip and broom. When one soldier attacks her, the whip gets tangled in the broom, and Elphaba drags the soldier across the area, smashing into others before throwing her into a pool of paint. Suddenly, Elphaba spots the wizard's flying monkeys approaching. Without hesitation, she mounts her broom and escapes. The incident quickly makes headlines, spreading fear across Oz. Morrible intensifies the panic by covering the city with propaganda posters, portraying Elphaba as the Wicked Witch. Still, Elphaba refuses to give up and vows to expose the wizard's lies. Meanwhile, Elphaba's former friend Glinda rises in status, now working closely with Morrible and the wizard. The people believe Glinda will protect them, and she is rebranded as Glinda the Good through propaganda. Morrible later visits Glinda with a special gift from the wizard, a spherical globule, a floating sofa that creates a bubble, making it appear as though Glinda can fly. She also gives Glinda an elegant wand and instructs her to inspire hope as the Good Witch. A flashback reveals young Glinda receiving a wand on her birthday, desperately trying and failing to perform magic. When a rainbow suddenly appears, she pretends she created it, pleasing everyone. Privately, Glinda admits to her mother that she wants real magic, but her mother reassures her that being loved is enough. Back in the present, Glinda floats into Munchkinland to officially open the yellow brick road. Morrible uses the moment to announce Glinda's engagement to Fiyero, the captain of the Gale Force. Though shocked, Fiyero plays along. Morrible then fuels more rumors about Elphaba, praising Fiyero's role in hunting her. Uncomfortable, Fiyero pulls Glinda aside, insisting they must find Elphaba before someone kills her. Glinda claims she hates the lies too, but believes it's necessary to maintain peace. Fiyero accuses her of enjoying the fame, but Glinda sees nothing wrong with it, saying Elphaba made her own choices. They share an awkward kiss, and Fiyero agrees to the marriage for Glinda's sake, avoiding her question about his own happiness. Later, Glinda returns to the stage, smiling for the crowd as she launches fireworks. Suddenly, Elphaba appears in the sky, writing "Wizard lies across the clouds." Morrible quickly alters the message to Oz dies, terrifying the people. Fiyero orders his soldiers and the flying monkeys to pursue Elphaba through the forest. Nets are thrown, but Elphaba skillfully dodges them, causing the monkeys to trap each other instead. When she hides behind a tree, Fiyero pretends not to see her and calls off the search, claiming she escaped. Heartbroken to realize the man she loves is now hunting her, Elphaba flees to her hideout, angrily tearing apart papers as memories of her past friendships flood back. Elsewhere, Elphaba's wheelchair-bound sister Nessa has become the governor of Munchkinland after their father's death. She prepares to pass a harsh law requiring animals to carry permits to travel. Her head guard, Bach, is horrified. Nessa defends herself, saying she must prove she's nothing like Elphaba, who abandoned her when she needed her most. Still, Bach cannot accept this and announces that he is quitting. Later at the train station, Bach is stopped from leaving. The new law has officially taken effect, requiring both animals and munchkins to carry travel permits. Guards brutally remove entire families from the train simply for lacking paperwork. Meanwhile, deep in the forest, a massive group of animals is fleeing Oz through a hidden tunnel beneath the road. Elphaba tries to convince them to stay and fight the wizard, but fear overwhelms them. He is then approached by Dulcibella, her former nanny, who explains that Oz is no longer safe for animals and that escaping beyond its borders is their only hope. The land beyond Oz is rumored to be nothing but emptiness, and Elphaba briefly envisions it, fearing the animals may not survive. Dulcibella warns her that Elphaba herself won't survive in Oz either, as people won't stop hunting her. As flying monkeys quietly perch in the trees, Elphaba insists that there is no place like home and urges the animals to fight for it. Suddenly, the cowardly lion interrupts, revealing that Elphaba was the one who gave the monkeys their wings, turning them into the wizard's spies. Elphaba admits the truth and explains she was deceived, but the animals no longer trust her and disappear into the tunnel. Sometime later, Boke has returned to work for Nessa, but he treats her coldly and ignores her attempts at conversation. When he notices a magazine announcing Glinda's engagement to Fiero, he quickly takes it and leaves. Moments later, Elphaba appears in Nessa's office, shattering a mirror with her sudden arrival. Nessa angrily confronts Elphaba for missing their father's funeral, while Elphaba reminds her that their father despised her for being green. Elphaba then asks for Nessa's help to save the animals, but Nessa instead asks Elphaba to help her first, longing for the carefree happiness they once had at school. When Elphaba admits she doesn't know how to fix anything, the grimoire magically opens, revealing a new spell. Elphaba immediately casts the spell on Nessa's shoes, which turn red and begin to burn. Suddenly, Nessa rises into the air, laughing in disbelief as she walks for the first time without her wheelchair. Elphaba is overjoyed as well, realizing her magic has finally done something good. At that moment, Boke rushes in and is stunned by what he sees. Nessa reassures him that Elphaba is there to help, and expresses hope that she and Boke can finally be together. But Boke believes Nessa no longer needs him and asks for a travel permit so he can go to the city. He confesses that he loves Glinda and wants to tell her before the wedding. Consumed by jealousy, Nessa refuses and grabs the grimoire. Casting a spell to claim Boke's heart, she mispronounces the words, causing Boke to collapse as his heart begins to shrink. Since grimoire spells cannot be undone, Elphaba forces Nessa out and desperately casts another spell, saving Boke's life. As she leaves, Elphaba tells Nessa that she plans to attend the wedding to expose the wizard's lies. Nessa believes Elphaba is really going for Fiero and begs her to stay. Elphaba replies that nothing she ever does is enough for Nessa and walks away. Suddenly, Nessa hears a loud noise as someone smashes through the door. Elphaba has returned, and Boke has been transformed into the Tin Man, allowing him to survive without a heart. Horrified by his metal reflection, Boke breaks down, screaming at Nessa and blaming Elphaba for his fate. Devastated, he runs away into the night. That evening, Elphaba arrives in Emerald City, where preparations for the wedding are in full swing. She shatters Glinda's window to get her attention, but Glinda, worried about the flying monkeys, forces Elphaba inside before pulling her into a tight hug. Their reunion is tense and awkward. Glinda suggests taking Elphaba to see the wizard to negotiate peace, but Elphaba refuses to involve her and leaves alone. Moments later, Elphaba confronts the wizard in his workshop, only for Glinda to burst in as well the wizard, and Glinda offers Elphaba a fresh start, but she demands that the wizard publicly admit the truth. He insists the people would never believe him, while Glinda argues that if Elphaba joins them, the public will trust her again. Holding Elphaba's hand, Glinda paints a hopeful picture of all the good they could accomplish together. The wizard leads Elphaba into his illusion-filled trick room, briefly distracting her with spectacle and charm. But when she sees his massive talking face machine, she remembers her purpose. Elphaba agrees to cooperate and protect his secret. On one condition, every animal in Oz must be freed. The wizard agrees and hands her the key to the monkey cage. Elphaba releases them, apologizing for giving them wings and telling them they are free. The monkeys screech with joy and fly off into the sky. After the wizard leaves for the wedding, the monkey leader returns and reveals a hidden chamber behind a painting. Inside, Elphaba discovers hundreds of caged animals, including her former goat teacher, all stripped of their ability to speak. As the wedding ceremony begins, the wizard returns and tries to justify himself, claiming some animals cannot be trusted. Elphaba declares that he is the true monster and uses her magic to free them. The enraged animals chase the wizard into the main hall, crashing the wedding in chaos. While guests flee in terror, Morrible accuses Elphaba of launching another deadly attack. The animals surround Morrible and slam her face into the wedding cake. The wizard attempts to hide in his workshop, but Elphaba throws her broom to pull him back. At that moment, Fiero arrives with his soldiers, ordering them to bring plenty of water. Believing the rumor that Elphaba can be destroyed by it, Fiero pulls the broom away to free the wizard, but after a moment of thought, he turns his gun on him instead. He forces the wizard into a cage, threatening to expose his secret, and tosses the broom back to Elphaba. Elphaba wants a private moment with Fiero, but Glinda suddenly arrives and demands answers. Fiero announces that he is leaving with Elphaba, and Glinda is crushed as she realizes they have always loved each other. Still, she lets them go, believing they deserve happiness. As Glinda breaks down, Morrible arrives late with soldiers and buckets of water. She frees the wizard, and together they plan how to draw Elphaba out. Glinda suggests spreading a rumor that Nessa is in danger, but Morrible decides Elphaba won't fall for a lie and chooses to make it real. Glinda then returns to the Great Hall, mourning the wedding that never happened. At Elphaba's hideout, she and Fiero finally confess their feelings and fly together, growing closer than ever. Afterward, Fiero suggests hiding in a spare castle owned by his family, but Elphaba hesitates. Back at the palace, Morrible conjures a violent storm that grows into a massive cyclone. The people of Munchkinland rush for shelter, but Nessa wanders the streets calling for Bull Q. Her cries reach Elphaba, who has a terrifying vision of a house from another world crashing down on her sister. Desperate to save Nessa, Elphaba agrees to reunite with Fiero later. As he leaves the hideout, flying monkeys surround him. When the storm ends, a girl named Dorothy steps out of the fallen house with her dog Glinda, gives Dorothy Nessa's shoes, and tells her to follow the yellow brick road to seek help from the wizard so she can return to Kansas. When Elphaba arrives, she discovers that Nessa has already been killed. Glinda calls it an accident, but Elphaba explodes, pointing out that cyclones don't appear overnight. She's furious that Glinda sent Dorothy to the wizard, despite knowing he has no real powers. When Elphaba argues that the shoes were never Glinda's to give away, Glinda fires back that Elphaba also took something that wasn't hers. Elphaba reminds her that Fiyero never belonged to her, and the argument turns physical. They slap each other and begin fighting with wand and broom, but Elphaba easily dodges Glinda's attacks by flying. Frustrated, Glinda drops the wand and tackles Elphaba, fighting her hand to hand. The soldiers arrive and separate them, arresting Elphaba. She realizes Glinda was part of the plan to capture her. Suddenly, the flying monkeys arrive with Fiyero, who threatens to shoot Glinda unless Elphaba is released. The soldiers comply, and Fiyero returns Elphaba's broom, urging her to escape without him. Glinda silently hands Elphaba her hat. Elphaba flies away as Fiyero orders the monkeys to protect her. The moment he lowers his gun, the soldiers seize him. Later, Fiyero is tortured for information about Elphaba. She sees this through a vision and rushes to the grimoire, casting a spell to protect him from pain. The spell transforms Fiyero into a scarecrow, making Elphaba realize that every time she tries to help someone, things only get worse. Accepting that she may truly be wicked, she sends the flying monkeys to retrieve Nessa's shoes. That evening, Morrible brings Dorothy to the palace, along with 3 companions she met on her journey: Bok, Fiyero, and the Cowardly Lion. The wizard activates his machine to appear powerful and orders Dorothy and her companions to kill Elphaba, promising to grant their wishes in return. As proof, he demands Elphaba's broom. The group leaves the palace to roaring cheers, with the citizens encouraging them to destroy the wicked witch. Bok publicly declares that Elphaba ruined his life, while Glinda watches silently from her balcony. Overwhelmed with guilt, Glinda retreats to her room, questioning every choice she has made. She later confronts Morrible, asking if they have gone too far. When Glinda brings up the cyclone, Morrible snaps, gripping her wrist and accusing her of secretly wanting this outcome all along. Morrible coldly tells her that her only role now is to smile for the people and stay silent. Realizing she has been standing on the wrong side of history, Glinda rides away on horseback. Soon after, flying monkeys abduct Dorothy, and Glinda follows them through the sky. At Fiyero's castle, Elphaba imprisons Dorothy in the basement, insisting she will only release her once she removes the shoes. Glinda arrives and tries to reason with Elphaba, but Elphaba has fully embraced her identity as the Wicked Witch. Their conversation is interrupted by a flying monkey delivering a letter. Glinda hopes it is from Fiyero, but Elphaba tells her she has seen his face for the last time. Believing Fiyero is dead, Glinda breaks down. Elphaba then declares it is time for her to surrender. Glinda panics, wanting to clear Elphaba's name, but Elphaba stops her, explaining that Oz needs a villain so Glinda can remain the symbol of goodness. She hands Glinda the grimoire, asking her to learn its secrets and create real change in Oz. Holding hands, they reaffirm their deep bond as lifelong friends. As the angry mob approaches, Elphaba hides Glinda in a closet. They whisper, "I love you," before the door closes. Through a small opening, Glinda watches in horror as Dorothy arrives and throws water on Elphaba, causing her to melt away. After Dorothy leaves with the broom, Glinda collapses, clutching Elphaba's hat in grief. The leader of the flying monkeys approaches her and gives her a green elixir bottle, Elphaba's most treasured keepsake from her mother. Glinda brings the bottle to the wizard, who immediately recognizes it. He admits that he once gave this elixir to Elphaba's mother, which caused Elphaba's green skin. Glinda realizes the truth. Elphaba's extraordinary powers came from being a bridge between 2 worlds, meaning the wizard himself was her biological father. Backed by the flying monkeys, Glinda banishes the wizard from Oz. The next morning, she brings Morrible to watch as the wizard escapes in his hot air balloon. Morrible begs for mercy, but Glinda orders the monkeys to take her away. As the city celebrates Elphaba's death, Glinda appears in her bubble and announces herself as the new leader of Oz. When asked if she and Elphaba were ever friends, Glinda simply replies that they were once classmates. She then frees all the animals, declaring that they may live openly in Oz without fear or restriction. Elsewhere, Fiyero arrives at the castle and opens a hidden hatch, revealing that Elphaba survived by faking her death. He thanks her for turning him into a scarecrow, which saved his life, and Elphaba calls him beautiful. Together, they run away toward the land beyond Oz, just as Elphaba once envisioned. Meanwhile, back in Oz, the grimoire begins to glow and slowly opens itself before Glinda.